ideal for brushing. Just have to get it with my fingers.
Hello?
This will just sit right here for now. No, that could be dangerous. Never mind. There, that'll do for now. Now, Remy? Yeah. Is the bridge working? Nope. Okay. Oh, that will have to be fixed. Here. Here, Amy. Why don't you cuddle up? Huh? Oh wow, APR's seen this already. That's good, I guess. It's quick on the one night we're kind of slow to start. Daniel's back. Very good. And the bridge is up. That's good. I can delete that message.
It's pizza time. Got pie, pie, pie.
Could be a time window thing.
That'd be mine. APR's causing shenanigans.
APR just, like I said just there, it noticed us early on a night when we're a little delayed. More than usual, at least. Uh-oh, Remy. Remy, damn it. Remy, get down from there.
Oh, come on, Katie. I need to eat. Down you go.
That's what she says.
Should I close the thing?
Not yet, because I still need to control the thing.
You're so bad. things out Remy had to say about things.
Mm-hmm.
Pizza shuttle larges are smaller than Mazio's larges.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have a pizza table. The furniture from the Fable.
All right, now that we have everything in place, good evening, Internet. It is 8:14 p.m. on Thursday, January 26th, 2023. Welcome to Thursday Throne, Thursday Thanatopsis. Which we're still in spooky mode ish. I'm your host, Mark Amsry, DJ Amstrack. That's Daniel. Remy was the eloquent typist. Not that that's visible in the overlay currently, because that's still broken. Tonight we're going to be continuing Sunless Skies, so let's get to it. We've got places to be in Albion.
Albion, I'm no longer your fool.
Come here, Steam.
That silly song that came out shortly after Skyrim.
There it is. Why are you over there? This is my primary... This is the primary screen.
What's in your mouth? Put it down.
A knife!
No!
Remy. There we go.
Old-timey computer shop. The rage train went places.
Hmm.
Honest to Mr. Radon to Vertigo.
Why is the game not appearing? There it is. Okay.
Oh, there it goes. Excellent.
Okay, so let's see. I need to deliver literature to places.
Cleveland needs to hit the mausoleum.
Mm-hmm.
Rats and the princess, you grab some for endurance. Find a place.
Mm-hmm.
I needed 5 more reports from Signal Line.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we found Costa Rica.
Mm-hmm.
So the navigators next to Regent's Graves. Endurance is a good place to get literature collectors.
Mm-hmm.
We have a package, a well-intentioned one for Blueberry by the Sea.
Mm.
Tool house cats are not all stretched out like that. Oh.
Right. That's the thing that you mentioned. Carol on.
Last man and Deanne need to go to Carolina later.
Glass
Mention
ant.
that because we're able to lead on the end. Yeah, Glassman and the Ant kind of sounds like either a band or a comic.
Yeah.
Today's adventure, Glassman and the Ants fight the Legion of Dawn.
Oh, that's right, buddy. Yeah, I need to talk to, oh, right, yeah. The repentant devil thing.
The mindless brute catches Glassman with a solid uppercut. Looks like you've got a real glass jaw. As if I hadn't heard that before.
Who cares if a judgment is looking for him? He belongs here with you. That was the one that we decided we ought to, right?
I believe so. Unless there is a fourth one. Is there a fourth item? Is there a fourth option?
Nope.
Okay.
He's tried everything but rebelling against the judgments directly, and now perhaps it is time. Now of all times, perhaps it is possible to take action and have some hope of winning. The repentant devil has decided to remain a fugitive on your locomotive and to take action for the liberation. You offer him room to experiment, freedom to travel, protection, as much as you can offer from the interference of any further agents of the Blue Kingdom. Either he is touched, or he has the tact to pretend that he is. At any rate, he accepts. 4,000 experience. Comes the Defiant Devil. Bring, bring.
And since you're at port, you should be able to sign in.
He already is.
Because if you're not at port, you'll actually be unassigned. And you can't reassign until you get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just if a video game is inconvenient like that.
Okay. So. I should head towards the mausoleum and explore southishly.
Oh, good.
Because there's an awful lot right in the vicinity of London that I have not uncovered yet.
How many port words do you have on it?
None, because I'm in London.
Ah. Oh crap, it's freaking terrible.
Yeah, it's not great.
I think you can drop it at the mausoleum, right?
I don't remember. I think so, though. Yeah, that sounds right. I'll be heading there eventually, and I have a lot of stained glass, so I may as well take that. And the Royal Society wants hours, and I have so many hours. I have not found it yet, but it's fine.
Ours can be raked in hand over fist anywhere in the freaking reach.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Hold your fill. Looks like you did.
I did. Okay, what are my options? The devil you know. Uh, da, da. That gets me a Tale of Terror, which is helpful. -1 nightmares. I don't have nightmares. Yeah, I'll take this one. Now then, would I rather have iron or mirrors? My base mirrors is a lot higher, but I have a lot of modifiers to iron to pump it even higher still.
So here in Albion, you might need the iron more.
That's true.
As the monsters are a little more dangerous than they were in the region.
Yeah. Well, let's see what the narrative differences are. Perhaps you saw it you have foreseen your own death. It did not please you. Perhaps you saw it in a dream. Perhaps a medium read it on your palm or in your tea leaves. When death comes, where will he find you? In bed, an insipid death, a death for bankers and laborers, not for one who rode the winds. You defy it. In the cold skies, an early death and a cruel one. Sometimes you dream of hoarfrost gathering in your lungs. It is not the death you chose. You will elude it. Sure, that sounds good. It's like, what? Die in my bed? No! Mm-mm. Sapphire and steel. Cemetery? Yeah. I'm not gonna play about that. Oh, something aggressive. It's a marauder. Oops. Dodge is too late. Oh no, wait, Resurrectionist. That's a marauder. resurrectionists haunt Memoriam, plundering its graves for corpse goods and cadavers. They sell the valuables to pawn shops and the bodies to disgraced scholars, deranged artists, and grisly collectors. Investigate the bodies. The cabin has been packed with gravelly sky ice to keep it cold. Corpses hang from a rail. Gain unusual items. 61% chance of success. Or
possible increase of terror. No, just take the parts.
yeah, I'll take the parts. A almost full repair. Drop terror with booze. Sandwich. The gentleman's grave.
You got better.
You did.
You just take the deal on.
Mm-hmm.
I love his dad.
Why don't you hop up? Protocols must be followed at the mausoleum. Blah 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 blah. Oh, it's just made a small sound at Teddy. Search for a clay man. Most serene mausoleum is full of mourners, tourists, and aristocrats seeking to reconcile themselves with death one way or another. The clay men are conspicuous in their absence. The clay conductor lumbers gloomily among the mourners, searching fruitlessly for someone who resembles himself. Eventually, the cheery registrar appears. "I'm sorry," she tells you. "Your friend is making people miserable." You explain your situation, and she relents. After a brief consideration of those interred in the mausoleum, she suggests that you seek an audience with the engraved mourner, a man of polished marble. He is one of the deathless. You will need to gain favor of the deathless through meeting them in the mausoleum before you can arrange an audience with the engraved mourner. Right, a port report. The remnants of a martyred sun smolder below the mausoleum. Partial success. Ah, no.
Terror. Oh.
You can't help but feel that as you gaze on the sun gazes back. if I'd remembered that cost, I would have brought several of those. Fortunately, I do have some of these. Oh, that was significant. Once more, and I'm good.
Oh yeah, the cherry sure does creepy things with, with the uncanny specimens.
Mm-hmm. Arrange a meeting with a retired devil. He has converted a vacant crypt into a cramped space, not unlike a hobbyist's shed. A stove in the corner blazes out heat, a copper kettle sits atop it. A grand bookcase is loaded with binders, identical, well-used, and each marked with a cartoushed reference in one of the thorny alphabets of hell. Excuse me. The devil himself has a narrow, chiseled face and a boyish tousle to his hair. He wears small, round glasses. He prepares you a cup of stewed tea and presents a plate of Murgatroyd's fungal crackers. They're years old and have the exact consistency of cardboard. He is a polite conversationalist, but reticent to discuss himself. Instead, you discuss your mutual acquaintances in academia. Is he an academic himself, you ask? No, he demurs. His interests lie in less formal areas. You nod at the full binders covering the wall and remark that he has clearly been keeping himself busy. He refuses to take the bait, adroitly changing the subject. If you ask more directly, he deflects, assuring you that he is a bland and uninteresting individual, unworthy of your curiosity. After an appropriate amount of small talk, he steers the conversation around to the topic of your availability. He requires the assistance of a Skyfarer. London's ambassador to the Eagle's Empyrean wrote regular letters home to his sister. I require one of those letters, specifically one dating to February 1902. Fortuitously, for me if not for her, the sister in question passed away that month, so I believe the letter has never been opened. Hopefully it is at their family home. He gives you a London address. I have no interest in how you acquire it. I will pay generously in souls of immaculate quality. You ask why he needs the letter. His glasses gleam in the candlelight. A good question. What might someone like me want with correspondence from a loose-tongued ambassador to his beloved sister?
Secrets the devil's trying to level.
Okay, I need to spec for hearts. That wasn't for the Deathless, that was for the retired devil.
There was a comment.
Oh, okay.
I was very not worried about what you... I heard a sound. It sounded bad.
The Cardinal is unattended today as he walks through the sepulchral vaults of the mausoleum, his bright vestments trailing along the flagstones. He notices your gaze and approaches. A footman hurries over to facilitate conversation. His Eminence is delighted to meet a Skyfarer. He has many questions for you, for his new exegesis on the Bible. Genesis will need a considerable gloss in light of recent information. The Reach verdant as Eden, the celestial gates of the Blue Kingdom, the infernal splendor of Eleutheria, and so on. His curiosity quenched, He thanks you for your time and leaves you with a paternoster for your trouble.
What?
Not one of the
It's
elevators.
like really small?
It's Our Father.
Oh, yeah, it was capitalized and there's a space. Yeah, I heard you looked at the paternoster for a couple months ago. I'm sorry, what?
A man,
I've totally got a comment. Between Thanatopsis and Muslim people that are in London.
a man of alabaster and marble, cold and ancient as an antique statue. Might he have an interest in the clay choirs? The engraved mourner consents to a meeting in his many-pillared chambers. You sit on couches of blue stone and drink wine in ivory cups. The conductor hunches, his form far heavier than the furniture can support, while the mourner reclines elegantly upon his divan. After polite introductions, the conductor demands, "Why do you look different?" The mourner smiles. "I was built for a purpose. To guide, to shepherd, to travel. It was deemed I should be pleasing to the eye and ear. Now you wanted to hear me sing?" His singing is somber and cold and sad. The clay conductor shakes his head. "No good. Too much like the sky." You make your excuses. Huh. You have lost favor.
So are you happier?
Well, yeah, because I just talked with the other guy.
Okay.
I gained favor from the guy who gave me the elevator.
Oh, that's not fair. So next you talk to Cleveland to see what that's going. Okay, that's something to ask her. Jeez.
He's defective, plain to hear. No wonder he lives surrounded by humans. If they only knew true clay music, the conductor grimaces. He directs your attention to a crumpled brochure. It is for Magdalene's House of Small Comfort in the Reach. Any company the weary skyfarer needs, we shall provide. Any company the weary skyfarer needs, we shall provide. Anyone you can think of, those of a rubbery persuasion, the company of the dead, even Clay Company. The conductor taps the page. We shall see. Can we?
Shining. I'm putting pizza in the fridge. Oh, look at that kitty right there.
Oh. I'll do that once. That was imperceptible. But that was also like the smallest amount of money to. Jeez. Turn to the nave. Bizarre munitions. I don't really need that. Da-da-da. let's look around some more. To the east, maybe. Or first, that little pocket right there.
Still cooling, alright. Something he stole the coronavirus from. Oh no. Inconvenient.
Maybe I'll find some fuel.
The guard found his way back to the party.
As high as my terror is, I should probably just blip. While I am stopped here, I will try this thing.
These cops do not have what it takes to handle such waste weapons. In spite of their apparent golden appearances, actually should have been a little bit longer than possible sight of
so much stuck to Muffin Cup. But I'm just gonna chew on it for a while.
So what do you think of this?
Not bad. I think I prefer the other ones, honestly.
For the orange cranberry?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think pumpkin might actually be better served without the cranberry. Like pumpkin might work, because like pumpkin raisin is a thing. Pumpkin craisin probably works better than pumpkin fresh or frozen cranberry. Because pumpkin tends to already be fairly moist and soft.
Uh-huh. Here's something.
Hours. Hey Becky, you missed a spot.
Ooh.
Not sure which one was that. But it's shot through the glass, so. How the heck did you get to that board over there? Go!
Oh boy.
This one's way boring souls. Yeti! We found that!
Hey, cool.
Apparently Mr. Menagery's here. Good for him. Oh jeez, he tried to get me here. My ear. Cabinet charger fell.
To the delight of mostly himself, the mellifluous president is planning an exhibition in the Royal Society. Its theme will be the science of the skies. I've been finding a lot of condemned experiments, so I'll go ahead and donate one. The mellifluous president's smile fades. "Oh dear," he says. "You did the right thing bringing this here." He shakes his head. "We will put it in a private gallery where only those with the appropriate qualifications will be exposed to it." The words "Nullius in verba" are written across the stonework above the great bronzewood doors. Her renewed majesty has granted these grounds to the finest minds in Albion to work here. Their purview is to invent, to hypothesize, to discover, and, most crucially, to watch the stars.
Keep an eye on him.
The mellifluous president greets you. He directs your attention to the new marble on the floors, to the cheerful portraits of distinguished Royal Society members lining the hallway, and finally to the very large portrait of himself in his plush library. We do like captains here at the Royal S. We need our space and, frankly, our comforts to thank. But it is you brave souls who do the real legwork. Extremely educational. If not, our gardens are extremely fine, as is our conversation. And the port.
How adorable. He has a whole plush library?
The Royal Society hums with activity. The preparations for a new wing of Airy House are in motion. The mellifluous president is convening another committee to continue the renovations of the gardens. The astronomers are excited about a star of burnished amber seen far to the east. The Rochester Club, regrettably, continues at high speeds. Okay, let's see here. Spec for iron. Yeah. Already spec for iron. Okay. Let's try it. The Royal Society have left their gardens to run wild, though an attempt was made at some point to tame them. Success. The gardens were an early attempt by the Society to stamp their mark upon the sky. More interesting avenues for scientific exploration quickly presented themselves, however, and the gardens were left to run wild, half-tamed. The overgrown gardens are beautiful, but hazardous to the casual walker. You, however, are a veteran rambler. The haha is no obstacle to your fearless tread. The follies neither deceive nor divert you from your path, and you can tell from a mile off the bog is a bad idea. You find yourself in a pleasant faux classical temple dedicated to the suns. Someone has left something behind. A sheaf of papers, crisp as freshly ironed shirts. Okay, cool. The pages are stiff as a new clerk's collar and thin as a spurned lover's parting smile. The ink is rich and jade. The permissions are varied and wide-ranging. The signatory is surprising. Ministry stamped permit.
Jeez.
He intimated there might be work for industrious skyfarers. Acquire an invitation to Perdurance. A small stack of invitations to the Half-Light Mask are impaled on a paper spike on his desk. He won't say why he has them, but he will part with one if you can tell him something about the sky he doesn't know.
Oh, there's a little bit of description of that, actually.
Yeah. Hello, Captain. Do come in. The mellifluous president steeples his fingers. On his desk, metal suns suspended from silver frames clack in the breeze. Now, are you here about work, or do you consider the term vulgar as well? I send reports back to London periodically, but we can't be everywhere. So much to do, so little time. Places of particular solar activity will do nicely. A curious place to be sure. I've never understood the appeal of clowns. Clockwork Sun, we would be very interested in information concerning our beloved star. Or the House of Rods and Chains. We would receive any information you have with avid pleasure.
I'll make a note on that. Let's see. And House of Rods and Chains?
Uh-huh. To Good Lord, really? Oh, well. He hands over one of the invitations. The card is elegantly embossed, inscribed with a gold liquid script. The puncture mark from his paper spike seems like an appalling blemish. There we go. An invitation to Perdurance.
I'm not supposed to bend, mangle, or spindle.
Nell's Tower. The Royal Society Observatory is named for King Charles's canniest mistress. Nell's Tower is the jewel in the Society's crown. A sign on the door in neat copperplate reads, Nell's Tower closed for the 13th annual Airy Dinner. Leave urgent business at doorstep. There is a polite cough at your shoulder. Turning, you see a tall man with a beard like a nest of vipers. The supercilious bursar introduces himself. I came to round up stragglers, but as a captain, you are of rank sufficient to attend the dinner, if you wish to attend. There will be port, Captain. Sure, why not?
We are looking for a port.
The dinner is held in the mahogany and marble imperial dining room of Airy House. Every piece of the dinner service is mismatched, and both the furniture and the personages in the room are pleasantly rumpled. The supercilious bursar brings you to the high table where the 3 senior astronomers of Nell's Tower are holding court. You are introduced to the senatorial professor, the chair for the effulgent sciences, and the lecturer for imperial affairs as the first course is served. Let's reduce some terror. Good Lord. It smoked like fine cheese and fired like a master potter's kiln. The color is pale ruby like a star-kissed stone. Its bouquet is Homeric as the epithets you lavish upon it. The senatorial professor smiles and adjusts his blindfold. From the ruins at Port Avon, marvelous find. The first course ends with a great smacking of lips, and a general feeling of goodwill towards the chef. The supercilious bursar passes the dish of buttered potatoes with an oily smile. The conversation continues, lubricated by Herculean quantities of port, buttered potatoes, roast squirmings, and sautéed Hybrian mushrooms are devoured in between rhetorical thrusts. Talk to the lecturer in imperial affairs. She is rationing her port with water and visibly holding her tongue. Talk to the chair for the effulgent sciences. Her eyes are wild. She has savaged the potatoes. Her conversation rambles, but her language is poetry. Talk to the senatorial professor. He affords sly smiles from under his blindfold between slurpings of mushroom. He appears to enjoy playing the devil's advocate. The lecturer keeps her voice low and produces a pin from her iron bun. She scribbles on her napkin as you explain your recent history. They resent me here, you understand. I was a direct appointment by Her Majesty's government. They dislike being reminded who holds the purse strings. The second course ends with the lecturer in Imperial Affairs telling a rather ribald joke, and a hearty toast to the continued health of all present. Sherbets produced in London sweet shops, sponge cake from the Admiral Nelson on Port Prosper, clotted cream, and actual strawberries grown in the gardens. More port. The conversation grows looser, the stories more risque. The supercilious bursar leans in conspiratorially. I arrange these dinners to promote unity, you understand. And, of course, for the good memory of our previous president, who nobly argued for the introduction of the Society to the Wilderness and convinced Her Majesty of our utility. He toasts the large portrait of Airy that dominates the room.
I guess that area was an adjective.
Talk to the chair for the effulgent sciences. She is drawing something on the napkin. Are those limbs? Rays? She smiles widely. Something I saw last time I was permitted to use our great scope. Honestly, what's the point if we have to ask permission every time we move it? Did Isaac Newton need King Charlie's permission to discover gravity? The third course comes to a close with a great groaning and heartfelt but false protestations that one couldn't possibly manage cheese and biscuits after all this. The supercilious bursar leans in as the plates are cleared away. Before we adjourn, there is the question of patronage to consider. All eyes are on you. A hush falls over the table. The three faces of the astronomers are turned to you. The supercilious bursar continues as though nothing has changed. Our telescope is operated only by the will of the government. We are not allowed to move the telescope without permission. A bold skyfarer, such as yourself, might obtain such permission, or at least an official-looking document that could be conceivably construed as permission. Our astronomers would be very much interested in patronizing you. You bring them a permit, they can advance their researches. In exchange, they'll teach you what they know. Now, I only managed to talk with two of them, and one of them seems very likely to get permission anyway. So, and the other one, I'm not sure what they would do with the telescope. She lets out a high laugh, wild as the shrieks of the bat-winged curators that ride the celestial winds. I'll show you such things, Captain. Come to the tower, do, and make sure you have a permit.
She has such things to show you. Be careful what puzzles you solve.
Observe the clockwork sun. London authorizes and encourages this use of the telescope. The ministry has stamped permits for this particular usage up to the next century, the bursar informs you. Gained 1 terror. 1 terror. The sun's light is thin and nauseous, flecking the horizon with a poisonous white gold light. Looking closer, you can see the machinery around the sun is still. Half lies in darkness, the other in a sad semi-twilight. Alright. The ascent to the telescope is arduous, and up an improbable number of winding stone stairs. At the top waits the telescope, gargantuan and gleaming as a dragon slumbering in its lair. The chair pulls the machinery to open the dome to the heavens with visible glee. For a few moments she stands alone, looking up, bathed in distant starlight. And then she's at the telescope, lowering the great barrel until the lens is at her eye. Over there, the bursar says through a mouthful of muffin, on the desk for your perusal. A small measure of progress was achieved. I fixed the telescope firmly on the horizon, as I had indicated previous. Much must be left to speculation, but I believe there are commonalities with my observances at Port Avon. A different intent, for sure, but one must wonder for how long have our microscopic activities been under the lens of minds immeasurably superior to our own. Vision of the heavens and a savage secret. Cool. I'll take it. The Rochester Club. A cozy country house bolted onto the side of the society's glass houses and overgrown lawns. This is the meeting place of the infamous Rochester Racing Club. Brandy glasses gleam on the shelves. Polished brass fixtures abound. A fire roars in the hearth. Members sit in comfortable armchairs comparing war stories. Parts salvaged from broken trains adorn the walls. Inquire into joining the Rochester Club. The dismal debutante curls her lip. The boisterous Harridan cackles. The current Lord Rochester laughs gamely before abruptly stopping. "Oh, you were serious?" He coughs to conceal his embarrassment. "Well, should you really wish to join our merry company, you'll have to prove yourself a proper racer." The careless Deviless, in her smoked velvet jacket, appraises you carefully. "You'll need to prove your mettle, my dear. Win one of our races, and we'll be happy to admit you." I'm going to need more fuel first. I can purchase fuel here. Oh boy, hours.
Astronomical opportunity.
Lord Rochester claps you on the back. "Good sport, that. The rules are simple. Get to the destination port and back here in 15 days. Then you can call yourself a true Rochester racer. Savvy?" He calls for order in the club room and gathers the other racers around. A quick toast is raised to your health, and then it's on with the race. 15 days to reach the floating parliament and return. I suspect I will not succeed this time, since I do not know for sure if that is a way out. but I will attempt it. Careful. Not much of a glen. It does. Once I hit that. Look out.
Good.
Very rude. Guys.
Pull it in or something? Just there.
Dang it.
Monitors are making it hard to race. Costs extra fuel to switch to boost mode, you know?
enough fuel to do that, so press on. Failure.
I lost the lead. Really?
There.
Plus that you can gas up here.
Mm-hmm.
Need to get a permit. Looks like that's probably gonna have something for you then.
Find the race marshal. The Lord Rochester is propping himself up at the estranged bar. He needs to confirm you've reached the floating parliament. Lord Rochester regards you with bleary-eyed delight. How sensational, he brays, with rather more S's than are usual. Jolly glad you made it. Care for a tipple? He shakes his head. No, you'd best be on your way. He waves you back to your engine, but not before thrusting a few bottles into your arms for the return leg. Tea. They don't have fuel here.
Oh no.
That means I'll have to stop at Brabazon.
sun isn't doing well.
Yep.
Keep on the strength of the sun. The sun seemed to look very sun was bright at once. But they say it quite enlightenment afterwards. Telescope gives you sun, the 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 sun.
Look out, Tackety. Freaking move.
Would it be faster for race purposes to cut the boost and use the side dodge to get around those pods?
I'm not sure.
Those crashes slow you down. Also, yeah, you need to make it 15 days, and you don't know what used to be.
Forget when I started as well. Multi-track drifting.
No
Trackless
trackless drifting. It went to launch. Yeah. To the Rochester Club. You did it. Money.
The room bursts into applause as you enter. A full bottle of champagne is located, opened, and sprayed vigorously in your direction. Good show, Lord Rochester is red-faced with delight. Damn near pipped me getting back. Very proud to call you a Rochester. Very bloody proud. His praise is fulsome, as is the bag of sovereigns pressed into your hands. 500 sovereigns.
Really pipped him? Never saw him.
Mm-hmm.
You were too busy crashing into, what do those clots count as? Guards? I'm glad they didn't aggro who you crashed into.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they're used to racers.
Portsmouth House. The workshops under the area are known collectively as Portsmouth House. The glass and brick factories are staffed by harassed inventors and engineers working constantly to produce the next advancement in adventuring equipment. The Portsmouth Arsenal, smoke and soot, glass and steel. The ring of hammers on metal, the swearing of engineers, the acrid scent of sweat. Here in the bowels of Portsmouth House, the scientists of the Royal Society work to produce experimental designs for daring captains. A team of engineers led by the energetic mechanic are excited to get to work on whatever you'll pay them for. Here you can convert goods to experimental modifications, which can be exchanged for unique equipment. Ooh.
Yep, you can get sweet equipment here.
The Montresor occupies your bridge slot.
Pieces as much abandoned as finished are stored in this long gallery. Equipment themes behind the glass casings like exhibits in a technical-minded museum.
Take your time, the energetic mechanic says, leaning against a wall. Just let me know if I can be of any assistance.
AS assistance. A secure chamber for private use. Requires 45 bales. Increases hold by 4 and quarters by 4. Not bad.
Amniotic crew containment?
Ablative crew pods? Externally mounted? They occupy your plating slot. Require hearts at least 25. You mean hearts below 25? Increase armor by 8 and quarters by 2. Rubbery sacks. Veils 60. Big armor, though, wow.
Mm-hmm.
The Mighty Pen Defensive Library System. A pneumatic library. Increases armor hold. Hey, the mechanical turret.
This mechanical chess player is, in fact, a hoax. It contains a hidden space for a skilled player to sit comfortably within and operate it from within. That might have its own uses, though. Increases hold by 1 and hidden compartments by 1.
Ooh, superior mining rate. Takes like an arch slot like a normal mining rate does. And gives you hold back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, I like the
Proserpina.
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 I was like, Prosperpina. That's not right.
No. It's the Latin version of Persephone.
I don't like that the cannery is named Carmilla. An excellent view as your prey is filleted. Mounted in the bridge!
It increases armor by 5. Interesting.
Weird thing for a cannery to do.
Mm-hmm.
You got the mirrors for it. The all costs the same amount of term modifications, or does it vary?
No, it varies.
12,
19. That's at 19.
8. Oh.
5.
Only 5.
10.
Too bad the mechanical turret's not super useful unless you do smuggle.
Yeah. I mean, that would give me reason to smuggle, though. Oh, I could bring so many hours here.
This place could hold so many hours. Let's talk about their interesting suit. Talk to them of tea.
Okay, so my bridge slot currently gives me +6 quarters. I would not want to, let's see, I have +6 quarters, +10 armor.
Oh goodness, have you talked to the engineers in the workshop? They know. Yeah, he was choosing accident. Yes. They say unsettling things when you give them uncanny specimen. Specimen.
I mean, wouldn't you?
If anyone can find a use for it, it'll be the engineers at the Royal S. I'll use it as a question best left unspeculated on. You might appreciate them coming in bulk. They can always make use of one as a control variable. Now they're talking science. But wait, isn't this where the mad engineers are? The mad scientists are the ones that need controls. I like the flavor text for hours. What any engineer really needs is more time. True. Never enough hours in the day, indeed. Ooh, it's at a good exchange rate too. 2 modifications per barrel. Per barrel.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I should think we can make use of these. Her Majesty's government gives us a stipend, but there's still never enough hours in the day, is there? A rattle, a sudden crack, an unfortunate tinkling. Ah, I'll, just put this down over here, shall I?
Oops. Handed them something cool and they broke it.
The energetic mechanic's eyes widen and they begin to grin. Goodness, it's been some time since I got my hands on something like this. The mechanic's fingers twitch reflexively. I shall tell Albert to lay out my things and clear my schedule for the next, week. Wish I'd been there to see that. They turned away. Come on, lads, let's get to work.
Have you asked about their suit?
Not yet. They clank about the arsenal in an old diving suit. It has pistons and chains that were when the mechanic needs reinforcement. It's clearly no longer used for deep sea diving.
Deep sea diving.
That's what I said. The energetic mechanic gives you a delighted smile. So glad you asked. Yes, I did repurpose it. Did all the work myself. It keeps me warm in the cold and cool when things are a little too warm. Closer examination reveals tiny sigils of fire and ice scintillating across the diving suit's surface. For a moment, their tone is rueful. It cost me nearly everything to create. I wasn't sure it would be worth it. But the places I've been able to go, to see, I can travel the wastes where all the stars are dead, or explore the eye of the storm that speaks.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, well let's, I'm pretty sure my Veils is 25. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. 25 plus and everything. And meters are 45 plus. just better than the other one.
Yep.
How much armor does your bronzewood armor give?
10.
10. Okay, so lead special armors actually gave a little less, didn't they?
Those two did. This one, though.
That's a boost, but it's basically a game for him.
Yeah. But that's one less quarters than this one gives. So I'd be down to 13. Assuming I then also replaced the sensible plumbing with the Carmilla.
Strangely give you 5 armor back.
Yeah.
I guess you've got like a bunch of the upgrades you would get to stack armor kind of high.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them aren't exactly upgrades, they're just like odd set.
Mm-hmm.
No reason not to acquire them all in the fullness of time and leave them in the bank.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, he trades exactly as strongly as ours.
It does. T just indicates you will gain experimental modifications. That's the only one that doesn't indicate how many.
It doesn't. Yeah, the game note just says you'll do it. Maybe it doesn't always give 2. I'm not sure. Maybe it actually gives 2 and the game just doesn't tell you that.
I don't know. Now let's see. At this point, I should take a look here. Senior engineer marches across the smoggy workshop floor to meet you. Well, she barks. Sorry, I mean, hello. We're frightfully busy. We're examining the effects of vitrification on Murgatroyd's tea. We've just had a breakthrough. There's a gentle explosion behind her, followed by the tinkle of shattering glass. Sorry, mustache. Do visit the arsenal if you're looking for something special. Inscribed Tinkerer. The inscribed Tinkerer likes her workbench tidy and her tea as strong as the devil's opinions. She believes in iteration of technology, of society, of people, and her inventions are intended to mitigate specific dangers and obstacles of the high wilderness. Her tea-stained notebook bulges with blueprints, and her skin is covered in inky treatments of the correspondence. She raises an eyebrow as you enter her office. Thank God, I was in need of a break. If it's work you're after, Captain, I can be of assistance in that department. The inscribed Tinkerer produces a slim notebook. Correspondence, Captain. The incandescent language. The Pentecostal tongues of the stars. She invites you to examine the broken sigils that score her skin, mirrored in her notebook. I've heard of a unique sigil I've not come across before. It's been cited by students in Trader's Wood, by an old friend in the mausoleum, and by my least favorite person in Pan. As a captain, you could get to those places and confirm the sighting. I'd give you access to a few of my unique designs, should you wish to help. Okay. 'Kay.
Yes, indeed. Write that down. Also, I'm a little disturbed at vitrification of Murgatroyd's tea. Glass tea. The tinkle of shattering glass. Yep. Sounds like a tea broke.
Alright. I should make my way back to London for now. Pick up some hours to bring back here for the delivery, and also to get a lot of well, don't actually need any more of those other items just yet, but I could go ahead and get the modification points anyway. Excuse me. I can explore a bit on my way back.
Real Society area. It's full of a bunch of nerds.
Nerds.
Unfortunately, there was a chance of acquiring something there. Chief Engineer of 10 years. Chief Engineer.
Oh, hello. A weft of unraveling time.
Ah, you have something for this.
Yep.
I think you use it by going in and using it.
Yeah. There we go. Its spindly manifold arms grope wildly, seeking the snarl of the weft. The device needs more time to catch the strands of the weft. You must endure the surging tides of time a little longer first. There we go. attempts to repair the weft. The raveling jack has caught the edges of the weft, its wheels spin, its arms dance, but its hold is tenuous. It will take a delicate hand to effect the repair. Failure.
Oh.
Jack's arms flail wildly, sending you ducking for cover. It loses its grip on the threads of time, and before it can regain them, everything shifts. 100% chance of success. Ignoring the intrusive events you have been plunged into, you concentrate on the rattling machine. The work is painstaking and meticulous. Slowly, the jack teases together the ragged edges of time. The intruding moment is banished. The present resumes. The weft is repaired. Wreck of the boatman. A wreck drifts just ahead. Fierce winds rock it like an empty cradle. Its black and silver bulk gleams in your lights as you search for its nameplate. The boatman. Captain, a signaler wants your attention. That's an Acropolis line engine. Brought the dead to Memoriam. His eyes widen, but it disappeared one eve. They say the dead woke and commandeered the train. Nonsense, I'm sure. He doesn't look convinced.
Do you think he was murdered?
The pilot grazes the wreck's hull and has to reverse. Your navigator's hand slips while winching the locomotives close. A clang resounds throughout your engine. When you finally docked, you select a few of your crew to join you. The outer door to the boatman is rimmed with frost. The bolts shriek as they are pulled across. Inside, your torchlight reveals a narrow corridor in somber black, opening onto darker doorways, likely the crew cabins. There is a long moan from somewhere deeper in the engine. Probably the boilers, your stoker whispers. Pressing forward through the cabins, you hear the rattle of something that might be chains. A bolt loose in the chassis, your stoker suggests, less confidently. I need more drink. I'll be right back.
Trespasser. Thief. Wait a minute. In England, trespassing isn't a crime, it's a right. The right of trespass. Which is like literally the act of just crossing through someone else's property. And they're pretty big on it in various places in Scotland, and I'm pretty certain oh shoot, brain, maybe not. The north part of England is in Scotland. Yorkshire, there. To the point that like people have little paths and special, easily moved, never locked gates in their backyards. Just specifically to allow passerby onto.
Yep. The boatman is as dark and cold as the grave. Gaslights flicker on the walls, none substantial enough to illuminate more than the empty doorways ahead. A shattered window in the galley is responsible for the merciless cold. The source of the faint but insistent knocking is less clear. Light in hand, you wander the empty cabins and carriages. The floor of the boiler room is scarred with scorch marks. The captain's cabin is littered with pieces of furniture. There are bullets in the walls. There are no coffins aboard, but the hold is locked. A great groaning emanates from within.
This doesn't feel like a good place to be when you're high on terror.
I had a dyslexic moment. Emanates almost turned into something like manatees. Great groaning manatees.
Not another speedboat.
Poor manatees. Investigate the galley. A pot has been left on the hob, boiling away. Inside, teeth? A sudden hissing. Your stoker stifles a scream. It's just a pipe giving out in the cold, steam pouring from the rupture like smoke.
Well, must be a grieved cat.
Investigate the engine room. The air is as hot and dry as the heart of a work world. The incinerator has been switched on. Something is burning inside. Peering in, you can make out the remains of a bundle of black and silver uniforms, smoldering into ash. You pass a mirror and glimpse a skull where your face should be. The rest is mantled in shadow. Returning to the mirror, you see the glass is broken. There's a hole in the wall. At the end of this black-walled corridor, the captain was afforded some measure of privacy from her crew. The room is Spartan. The bed looks uncomfortable. Someone has arranged her pillows and a surprising number of moldering stuffed toys beneath her sheets in the semblance of a sleeping form. The only other furniture in the room is a barren writing desk with a journal and a pen abandoned upon it. Partial success. Reading the captain's log provides a few clues. 11th September 1903. Line manager insists we shave a day and a half from the round trip. Navigator plotted new course. 12th September 1903. Set to make memoriam in good time. 13th September 1903. Scout reports wefts of unraveled time on our bearing. Have instructed pilot to hold the course and our schedule. You haven't found a single coffin, and the hold is locked from the outside. The captain would have her keys with her, but you've not found her body. Either the captain felt the need to lock the hold before abandoning her engine, or she's inside. The door is locked tight. Explosives sound like a bad idea. Let's take the shoot. Coffins brought to necropolis-lying ships are deposited through the corpse door, which opens onto a narrow chute leading into the hold. The metal groans with the weight and movement of a live body. Tormented fixings buckle. Your crew bang on the sides for you to get a move on. It's quite a squeeze, as the chute narrows like a throat, but with a final groan, you're expelled. Behind the wreckage, you find a row of coffins like blackened teeth. There is a sudden muffled banging, as if something is knocking on the underside of a lid. Explore the hold. There are signs of a fight. You move through the hold, which is as large as a wealthy family's mausoleum. Casting your light before you, Shadows flee, revealing chains holding some of the coffins closed, scuff marks on the floor, a few shreds of black and silver cloth. An insistent scratching comes from a coffin, knocking from another. Your signaler startles and stumbles, falling face first onto a coffin, which rocks angrily. The lid slides off to reveal the boatman's captain, gagged, bound, and still very much alive. Footsteps approach, slowly as though dragged. Your stoker shrieks. Figures appear at the hold door, mantled in shadow. You raise your torch, illuminating the figures in the door. This provokes shrieks from your crew. Sallow-skinned, hollow-eyed, decaying corpses are blocking your escape. Bloody rib cages, broken skulls, exposed bone, and sloughing flesh. Cadavers.
In the world? Stupid zombie boat. Assuming it's not just like creepy weirdness.
You reach for your pistol. The cadavers take a step back. Please, the nearest rasps. A tall, tattered man in a stoker's uniform. I'm not sure these bodies could survive any more damage. In the eerie light of your torch, you can make out moldering corpses. They stand in the doorway, silent as the grave. They are key to whatever befell the boatman. The leader extends one bony hand, its limb shaking from the weight of yet unsloughed flesh. Introduce yourself, it's only polite. The corpse nods stiffly, its fingers close around your own. There is an uncomfortable moment where you almost leave with more fingers than you started with, but eventually, and with many a courteous "excuse me," you extract yourselves. We're glad you didn't run away, the skeleton says. The deceased stoker sends another corpse to fetch brandy for your crew. The captain, he says mournfully, had a habit. What the brandy lacks in quality, it makes up for in potency. Now, the stoker says, when the last of the glasses have been handed out, I think an explanation is required. I should apologize, he says. We've not had any visitors since the mutiny. Couldn't predict how you'd react. Driving you off with a haunting seemed safest. Almost had you, a decaying lady cackles. The fruit in her hat is fused with the exposed parts of her cranium. The stoker clears his crumbling throat. While our bodies were being transported, the captain steered us through a carelessness in time. Things have gotten tangled, you see. As far as our minds are concerned, we haven't died, but our bodies beg to differ, vociferously. The last thing I remember from when I was alive is saying farewell to my husband, then heading to the station. He looks down at the captain in her coffin. She's getting agitated again. We've been very decent, considering they tried to throw us into the incinerator the moment we climbed out of our boxes. Anyway, we thought we might face the same treatment elsewhere, so we set out into the wild. But here we are, stuck without fuel. We'd appreciate help.
Was there stain with residue of corned beef?
The boatman was the victim of an unfortunate accident. It is now crewed and captained by dead who were jolted awake by the collision with loose oars. The engine is out of fuel and supplies. Its living are trapped in coffins. Its dead are torn between returning to London and seeking a new home. Theirs is not an eternal rest, but rather an unhappy intermission. The stoker adjusts his jaw to make his speech more intelligible. Damnable thing, really. Last thing I remember from life before this is wishing him goodbye. A sigh rattles through his skull. I wouldn't want him to see me like this. He gestures to the assemblage of cadavers behind him. It's the same for all of us.
Yeah.
I need new elastics for this shock mount.
This is not shocking.
The makeshift hair ties that I'm using there are kind of failing, and the microphone has been,
Tilting weirdly.
yeah. No idea what we'd go back to, or who, or if we'd even be allowed. Better to have a fresh start. The behatted chaperone speaks, rasps, on their behalf. I had a nice tea shop in London, opened it with my Bertie. We had a word of a new strain coming in from Eleutheria. Last I know, I was on my way to the station to pick it up. She pauses to pluck a wax peach out from the fracture in her skull. All this, she gestures in her skeletal form, is just an inconvenience, coming back as an opportunity, and one I'd be a fool to miss. And I'm not the only one who feels this way. The captain and the crew are restrained in coffins. Their mouths are stained with the residue of corned beef, which the dead have been feeding them. The moment you remove the gag from the captain's mouth, she bursts into speech. Get us out of here! They closed the coffin lids on us! I cannot bear another second. She pauses to regain a degree of self-control. I know we were a bit hasty popping them in the incinerator, but it was horrible. Coffins bursting open, shrieking bodies wondering where their tea was or why they couldn't see. She shudders. But please, this is a nightmare. Arrange to take the living home. We'd appreciate having our coffins back, the deceased stoker says. You haul the captain out of her coffin. The dead keep their distance, perhaps sensing their help is unlikely to be appreciated. Bloody savior you are. The captain whispers, Come on, lads, all aboard the captain's train. We'll sort out what we're going to say to the line manager on the way back. The crew of the boatmen leave their train for yours. Your quartermaster can arrange the details of their crossing and provisioning. You would? Oh, I can smell my old tea shop already, her voice gives out, but she conveys her feelings via a sudden crushing embrace. Bones crack before she releases you. Fortunately, only hers. Your quartermaster can arrange the details of their trip back. Your quartermaster's expression suggests that they did not appreciate the reminder that the new passengers won't require supplies.
Off to the mausoleum into London.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly the first. Oh my goodness, the terror.
Yep. Cool, okay. Da.
About the biggest of Ben's wasn't on the way. Got tired just by flying past that thing.
Yeah. I think my best bet is going to be turning around at this point.
Worst case, you can always stay down in here.
Mm-hmm.
As one of your recent leveling options has been, hey, want to lose nightmare?
Mm-hmm.
having that
Indeed.
improvement. Maybe that's an Thanatopsis improvement. Yeah, use the toilet. It's got plumbing.
Are you sure?
There's pipes everywhere, man.
Rest and recover. Yeah, that's a little bit.
Crew relieves themselves of their wide, flat stinkums.
Daniel.
They resume yes, well,
Why?
you can blame Aaron Hansen for that freaking phrase.
An engineer cries out, her voice hoarse as a professional mourner. It's gone! Oh, this again. Yeah, let's distribute supplies. I have enough.
Considering stars don't seem very friendly, I'm not so worried about them disappearing.
Mm-hmm. I think that one just didn't unload. 'Cause that's definitely the same one that I fixed.
Here, wait, no, that's a warp. Where's the warp?
Eh.
Also, you're a train, not a shuttle.
It's just a jump to the left.
Loom jumps. Smash that loom.
Yellowite.
That looks hungry. Needs some nature branded equipment. Scooby-Doops. That's the technical.
Of course. Oh dear.
Hey, look, it's Uncas.
Y'all fight each other.
Yeah, let's see them have fun. I love that trope when it's not the right person again.
I'm just gonna this way. Y'all can ignore me. Oh god. Nope, 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 nope. More brandy.
Outbreak of the fart sickness.
quarters of the Necropolis line are buried somewhere near the nave. The captain fiddles with her cufflinks as she accompanies you to the office of the Necropolis line. Her crew have scurried away. You don't have to come in, she says, not looking at you, but the manager's not going to be pleased. If you'd put in a good word. She trails off. You have arrived at the unobtrusive black-painted door of the office. The knocker bears a grinning silver skull. Inside, the office is funerary, draped in indigo and accented with fussy silver fixtures. The line manager looks up from his desk and glowers at the captain. Where the bloody hell have you been? Yeah, speak up for the captain. The line manager rants and rages until you manage to interject. Your mention of exceptional circumstances gives him pause, and your production of the captain's own log puts a stop to his complaints. He plainly does not believe you, but he seems afraid of anything in writing. He dismisses you both, but not without a significant reward for your trouble and your immediate departure. Outside, the captain deflates with relief. Thank you. I'll remember your kindness.
Indeed she will. Nice.
Mm-hmm. That is so little as to hardly
really
be
doesn't
worth
drive
it.
much. How much does it
No.
cost?
3 sovereigns.
Oh.
So it costs next to nothing as well. It just takes forever.
What is it, like 3 sovereigns per 1 terror or something?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, you finally moved a visible amount.
Oh, it's moving a visible amount each time. That'll do. You follow the Tinkerer's instructions, a quiet window off a landing below the upper vault. Far below, mourners and courtiers, all in black silk, wander the nave like a host of spiders. You take out a magnifying glass provided and turn your attention to the walls. Some quick thinking on your engineer's part doused the worst of the flames. The correspondence often has spectacular side effects. Your notebook has survived with your drawings of the many, many identical broken sigils that adorn the gallery that looks out over the dead star below.
Oh, cool, you got it.
Mm-hmm. I may as well check the other places, though, before I return. I feel like it's one of those things like the researcher in the wilderness sanctuary, or whatever it was. Wilderness preserve.
I should check on that. Let's see, that was someone in Portsmouth House. Inscribed Tinker. You have discovered. It caught fire. It makes it sound like you accidentally completed it while copying it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh crap, that's not where the brake is. That wasn't the brake. Ah! Stupid burning star letters.
Oh yeah, that should be 5 port reports out here. There was 5 that I needed, right?
Yes.
Now,
Accumulate 5 port reports from destinations in Albion.
I thought I had that.
Are the 5 you have all from Albion?
Oh no, Prosper's not Albion. But Brabzon, Floating Parliament, Mausoleum, and the Royal Society are.
One more.
Okay. Well, where can I go?
All sorts of crazy places. Like Avid Horizon, or... do you have one from the Clockwork Sun?
I don't have one from the Clockwork Sun. Avid Horizon looks like the closest place that I know about.
Can you get one from the Home Bureau?
I have one from the... Wait, the Home Bureau.
So.
That is the Avid Horizon.
Oh. Okay. You get one from, you have one from Floating Parliament?
Yes.
That's a good one. Well, if you find Mulberry Jackson Mari, that's one.
That's way over.
Find for
That's way over here.
Perdurance, that's one. Forburance. Forburance.
Okay. In that case, I will stock up on more fuel and supplies.
Rather looks like it's in ore.
Okay.
As you'll get cases buried where it isn't. Oh, it is. carrying stuff in the glass. Doesn't seem to have a parrot.
Ornaments. Pipes. Pipes. Well, hey, this drops me off right by Mulberry Justamare.
Blueberry by the sea.
Yep. Trumpet. Trumpet bubble juice. Fog rises from below, seeping through the wooden slats of the dock. The crowds waiting in the queue begin to sing, a watery, ululating tune of no discernible melody. Huh. Sure. As the final harmony dies with it, peace is restored. Even the memory of the song and your part in its choir fades from memory. Looking down, there is something in your hand, a doll embedded with many small sticks and bound with rope. It has no face, but its stare is no blanker than those on the faces of the people surrounding you.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
The stain of pained glass. Ow! My glass!
Okay, I needed to find somebody here.
Let's see. Oh yeah, you probably want to report, right?
Mm-hmm.
Literature from endurance. Bring the package to Juxtamobi. Yes, you have a well-intentioned package.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole stand for Parliament thing.
Mm-hmm.
You need to respect that.
Yeah. Which I can't do right here.
Yes, a beach.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. All that pressing on and
Mm-hmm.
closed the grating the whole time.
I couldn't find the thing.
Oh, the well-intentioned package.
I mean, I have the well-intentioned package, but I couldn't find where to take it.
Hmm. I agree with you, actually. Don't think it's well intended correctly. Between Asmid, request the off-season.
The signalman pauses in transcribing his latest set of notes. They cover the signals of Albion, from the bat-delivered memos of Parliament to the archaic systems of the Home Office. His manuscript grows ever heftier. It's not the world we thought we was building. Looks a lot like the old one for a start, but with brighter gleams and darker glooms. He frowns. We're all afraid to let go of what was. Speaking of, when we next stop at London, I'd like to take shore leave. It's time I spoke to the squire. Who's that, you ask? A purveyor of follies, he responds obliquely.
Hmm. Okay, it's a couple of things to do in London then.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. Dang, close from your choice of outfit has no impact on the board. It is merely an outlet for your whimsy.
Yeah, that's what it seems to be. Respect for hearts, I have slightly more than a 50% chance of victory, so let's try it. Failure. Polls are not in your favor. Your opponents appear to have the will of the people behind them. Fortunately, it is a long way from here to Parliament. You suspect that it will not be long before the winner tires of their new position and steps down.
Sounds crockery, tags of dried tea. What? Race marshal, sometimes Grayson's go here. Meet the new street line passenger in a haunted house. Sometimes hello people, stand for parliament. What? Ellen poets, Lincoln princess. Something her quest line. Save your obviously delicious rabbit from the pavlova vendor. Simply gather members for the cult. What? It's for your tea quest. Consider the strangeness of the lanes. ceiling cap.
Ponder that strange, unearthly taste. A residue persists from that last cup of tea, a flavor like roasted chestnuts and the color blue, like absinthe brewed in the belly of a star. This enables you to investigate the weirdness of Whirlberry Juxtamare and offers a potentially rewarding opportunity. The sour tang of that last sip resides in your palate, in the oily coating on your tongue. It is like, but entirely dissimilar to, the more familiar teas of London. It would go magnificently with a fresh scone, some ant-manufactured jam, but the aroma is fundamentally incorrect. The citrus notes mingle with the nostalgia for a time that's never been. The warm spices heighten to the anxiety that bubbles with every sip. This tea remembers how it will come to be made. It is a struggle to ignore the details.
You gained 2 caddies of dried tea.
Oh boy.
And have encountered something strange in Whirlberry Juxtamare.
Mm-hmm.
+1 Williams awareness. Second-rate souvenirs cobbled from haberdashery and children's nightmares.
Seek out the stained glass aristocrats. Rich totter around the port sneering. Their eyes are an affectation, a mimicry of the mist change done to long-term port workers. If you convince them you're their peer, they'll help to pare the lies away. A giggling crash of aristocrats stand waiting by the water, their stained glass eyes incandescent. Sea glass, they say when you ask, hand gathered in the mists, hand inserted by specialists. Your gossip makes them shriek with laughter. When they finish relishing another's misfortune, they take you by the arms and legs. One with more delicacy than you'd expect, peels your eyelids apart. Someone gently whispers, "This will only hurt a little." It's a lie. When the tears finally stop flowing, you can see more clearly the port's naive attempts to be anything but what it is.
I see.
Sure, ponder the taste again. Get more tea.
Scruffy. Clamber through the what?
Gnarled door. The door slides like a thief into the periphery of your vision, too short to enter unless you crawl. You pry the door open. Inside is the throat of a short tunnel, connective tissue, really, leading out into a star-swallowed twilight. A canal slicked with juices that cannot so much be seen as felt. Your journey begins here. You press down. It sticks to you, vernix and the warm reek of intestinal meat, gelatinous and insistent that you remain where you are. Perhaps it is the Sisyphean nature of the travel. Perhaps it's carelessness. Whatever it is, the voice of the man ahead of you, salt dry and salt cold, comes as a surprise. "You're late for the sermon, too?" he hisses. We mustn't be late for the sermon. His hand grasps yours, tugs you through a translucent membrane across the path through church doors. You don't have time to observe the port. The air seizes you, cold as a corpse kiss, and something about it is wrong. The bedraggled parson stands before his people, palms raised. Today we stand before they who must grieve, to give praise to their sacrifice. Without them there would be no joy, no agony against which we might juxtapose the sweetness of our existence. Do not ever forget this. If you forget all else, do not forget this. He raises his eyebrows at you. A pleasure to see a new member. Please join us later on the beach. Find a seat among the parishioners, their skin whirled with strange patterns, tentacular calligraphy that might quite possibly be flesh. The bedraggled parson paces across his stage, lit up from behind by his reverence, his conviction in the sutras of his speech. Here is a man assured in his precise place in the universe. And remember, next Tuesday, a baptism at the Mists. All those looking to experience a closer connection with they who must grieve, come down to shore. And the bedraggled parson stands before his people, palms raised. And what are we but motes of thinking salt, but stardust, but orphans lost in the dark? In their infinite compassion, they who must grieve offers us sanctuary. So I urge you, brethren, embrace their charity. And we cannot, beloveds, allow ourselves to be afraid of they who must grieve. In our ignorance, we defame as monsters, but are we not the monstrous ones, we who live so alone? The bedraggled parson paces across his stage, lit up from behind by his reverence, his conviction. Yes. So have faith, my beloved flock. Have faith in the wisdom of they who must grieve. Have faith in them. For they have suffered eons, so that we may understand joy.
You're talking about Cantankerous.
Huh.
The Pepperidge Farm of Sky Beasts.
You lean over to whisper to a diminutive old woman, her hair swaddled in gold filigree. Upon closer inspection, it becomes evident that it isn't hair that sits atop her skull, but thousands of delicate cilia. Still, aside from that one anomaly, the woman seems normal and generous with her attention. I like coming here. Parson's got a good heart. No idea what he's trying to say sometimes, but he's got a good heart. He wants us to rise up, rise beyond who we are and what we are. We've just got to give ourselves to they who must grieve. That's how I got this. She strokes her hair. In the mists. She leans in. But honestly, I'm only here because the parson's a pretty one. The bedraggled parson stands before his people, palms raised. He clears his throat, but before the parturition of the first syllable, officials from the Bureau of Entertainment swarm into the chapel, howling like blood-drunk wolves. There is little resistance from the congregation, merely an affected resignation. The officers of the Bureau of Entertainments are civil as they evict the crowd. Once they've surmised that you do not belong, the officers leave you largely alone, occupying themselves instead with the task of extricating the parishioners. The bedraggled parson's disciples cooperate with only minimal contempt, moving where they're told, answering questions when they're asked. All in all, a courteous disruption. Come on then, let's go, let's go. The rictus smiles of the officers are identical in their splendor, as is the exquisiteness of their uniforms, the oiled shine of their dark hair. The Bureau of Entertainment is the branch of the Ministry of Public Decency responsible for the well-being and upkeep of Rollberry Juxtamare. They take their duty seriously.
Looks like you can leave either way.
Mm-hmm. Let's run. Aha! This is not Rollberry as you know it. This without glitz, glamour, or a single tourist barring yourself. The port lies sprawled under a sky now cataracted with milky nebulae. None of the familiar constellations are in sight, and every building's a bone gnawed to the marrow. Despite the dilapidation, the place bustles with grim activity. And the smell, the cloying putrescence of it, a stink of hay and fecal matter brined in a miasma of dead marine life, copper and fresh bread. Rollberry Juxtamare has become a corpse. The run-down bones of its forgotten attractions swarm with bedraggled men and women, all armed with cleaning equipment. This is where the workers of Rollberry live and labor to create the gaudy frontage seen by tourists. The beach is now a decaying mess, visited only by the cultists who attend the chapel there. To linger here, you'll need to work, but labor is poorly paid. Take other workers' jobs too often, and they'll firmly encourage you to depart.
There we go.
There we go. There are parts of Rollberry Juxtamare unfit for a postcard, crumbling and bleak and not at all charming. The locals eye you with unmasked hostility. Your delivery of food and medicine is greeted with reluctant grunts of approval. Hard-eyed mothers appear, towing thin children, and pick out what they need. All of them thank you, some even curtsy, and one brings you a thin mug of hot, bitter tea. You'd always understood that donkey excrement has to go somewhere. Apparently, that place is here.
This is where it goes.
A grumpy woman wastes little time on exposition. She passes you a shovel, a few words of advice, and jabs a gloved finger at a seething mound beside you. Try not to breathe deeply. Over the course of the next few hours, you discover two things. The first is that donkey feces, once it starts burning, smells curiously like tea. The second is that it occasionally fruits malformed viscera, an occasional eyeball or six. The work is nightmarish, but you survive to the end of your shift. You'll never smell the same again.
What are their donkeys eating?
Worldberry Juxtamare is shattered beams and broken stone, and the beach is a stretch of filth clotted in stinking clumps. Even here there is work to be done. Could assist.
These aren't donkeys.
Divest the donkeys of their eggs?
Donkeys don't egg.
The donkeys here aren't enthroned in feces, but they require attention nonetheless.
You know, so it's just a mirror spick if you answer that. And apparently the cat has mirrors. One.
Yeah. So does.
As does the Plemmican. The cat is truly useless.
The chapel lies on the beach at the edge of the mist. It is wefted tendons and yellowing bone, the pews muscle cured in salt. It's amazing how spacious this place is, given the exterior. From the outside, it looks like just another corpse washed onto the shore. Have a word with the parson. His voice is water, warm, hypnotic. They were kind to you, the bedraggled parson says, abruptly and without vitriol, only a pale wonder, eyes fever-warm under the wilds of his hair. It is all he extends. Was he talking about the officials from the Bureau of Entertainments, or someone else? Find them, he burbles. Find them. Find the lonely, the broken-hearted, the barely breathing, the ones who'd think this port could ever save them. Find them. Tell them about they who must grieve, about us, about how love can turn in the heart like a key and open the soul to the universe. Speak to them of change. Tell them. Tell them. The words seep from the bedraggled parson, tie themselves into gibberish, nonsense sounds like a spill of cold water on glass. For minutes he is inchoate. Then, you need clothes. The cultists cram you into second-hand finery, shabby but serviceable. Now you are suitably attired. They bundle you across the off-season and through a door to Worldberry. The membrane blocking it shivers and twitches, reluctantly allowing you to pass through. Time tingles on your skin for several minutes after your arrival. Is that what the mist is? A man, a woman, teenagers lanky as hounds, a couple too old for the weight of their years. They listen to the sutras and scriptures of transformation you repeat, their entire bodies poured into the act. Something in the words sings to them, and one by one they say yes, yes, and yes again, discreet in their reverence. You give them directions to the cult's headquarters and pats on the shoulders. They receive your attention with the gratitude of children. What is in here? Just entering the office is not a betrayal, it says. Oh, how beautiful. Chandeliers dripping with diamonds, gilt-limbed cornices of marble, Baroque atria so magnificent it could drive one to tears, all leading to a sumptuous little office, its walls painted gold by candle flame. The toy maker, who looks like an amber-cast cousin of the couturier, sits at the desk, mending plush toys. He glances up. If you're here to assist, you may speak with me. Reports tell me you were with the cult, but not of the cult. The toy maker sutures the teddy bear's black button eye in place. That sermon caused a fuss. He spits the word like it was a jag of sharp bone in the off-season. People are taking risks. People are dying. So very wasteful. He tilts his head like a sparrow. We have to protect our working class. They dwell in the off-season and mustn't be disturbed. Their work keeps this era of Worldberry pristine. They stand between our guests and untoward horror. Bureau officials hover nearby. The officials of the Bureau of Entertainments are teeth and the gleam of brass buttons. No warmth at all. They do not trust you.
False smiles.
Yeah, that's just a really weird way of saying that.
They're all teeth and buttons. Also speaks to the occasional predatory nature of law enforcement.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wait, that was saying it costs a savage secret to get there. You tell a passerby a story they'd not expected, something raw, profoundly and audaciously private. They gasp and the air jumps, irises into a door like a wicker tunnel strung with fairy lights. You dash through and the air feels membranous. It stinks of burning wire. It is a wall of mucus 2 feet thick, and it calls your eyes in oil-slick rainbows. Ugh. The act of feeding the lanes is actually quite menial once you become accustomed to the mucus-slick ducts. The way they tendril across your hands in pursuit of victuals, it really becomes quite boring. In one end, out, presumably, the other.
Distressing. So is this a future when the place was ruined?
I don't know.
Also, eggs. Oh, cool! I got you way back in.
The donkeys are infertile. A flint-eyed woman reassures you. None of these eggs will ever reach fruition. The zygotes strangle themselves in the sack. But they do need to be flinched from the donkeys. Otherwise, there's the risk of rot and worse. You spend a few hours with a knife, gingerly paring the eggs from the underside of their bellies. They come apart in clusters, soft and milky gray, their inhabitants silvery and still.
Is the creature they're calling a donkey a kind of crab?
Crab, donkey, crab, donkey.
Oh, yes.
Brewed like crab, looked like donkey.
monkey eggs?
Thank you, says the bedraggled parson, tone milk mild. He gestures, an inflection of the hand that draws the eye to a swath of new faces, each tendril-haired, paraffin-pale, and without expression. Then one laughs jerkily, fingers picking at their chewed-down hems, and it becomes clear who they are. They who must grieve is soothed by their presence, as they are by their contact with the numinous. A susurrant echo, the parish is repeating his every word.
Oh, you got another one there. Ventilation in the ovens and some next week.
Mm-hmm. Not enough. Not enough, the bedraggled parson warbles. They need more. We need more. He unrolls sheets of vellum, their surfaces vernix slick and intaglioed with elegant, if mildly tentacular handwriting. My poor, poor children, they are unhappy. They listen, but they do not understand. They cannot understand. They are deafened by their own grief, broken, bent to the noise of their own hearts. I cannot reach them. The bedraggled parson shakes his head as he offers you the stack of paper. Take these to the avid horizon. Find the displeased. They might assist my flock. Find these guides, these psychopomps of petty suffering. Give them these and ask them to come here. My mirrors a bit more, that'll be a fantastic place to just farm those things. But for now, let's get out of here.
You can simply leave from here.
Yep.
Leave further.
Okay, now I wound up with an excess of stuff.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Hmm.
So I should probably make directly
You got a bunch of tea.
for London, which is just right there.
So,
One fuel and 2 supplies. That'll be enough to get me there. That came out weird.
presume you don't want to just like dump crate of munitions.
It's fine. That'll get me far enough.
A jumble of lame wad souls. These two were downless. the shovels is fine. That's the take down the next step. It's unfair just to noticeably change.
Because we entered London.
Welcome to London. Somehow had to carry the patient. Look at where you are. Lay eyes.
Okay. So, first to the bank.
Drop off some stank.
First, I'll worry about the rest later.
Oh wait,
Hmm?
oh right. Yeah, only for this from right here.
Wait, what?
Didn't the guy want to fight forwards?
Already did that.
Oh. Okay. Alright, let's try that. Yeah, we found these empires on us, so we just need to go back to
The address the devil gave you is a dower house on one of the upper middle layers of London. High enough to glimpse the white mansions above, low enough to be occasionally troubled by smog from below. It features a shadowed garden, railings like a thicket of spears, and the throaty baying of ill-tempered hounds. You hear a bitter widow lives there, clinging to the husk of once splendid industrial holdings. How will you get in? Talk your way in. A pinch-faced butler answers the door. You convince him that you are an old friend of the family and are ushered into a gloomy drawing room. The lady of the house arrives shortly thereafter, having been dragged from her troubled account books. She is misanthropic and unused to company. Her husband left her with debts and 4 grown children, one dead, 2 scandalous disappointments, and one, the ambassador to the Eagle's Empyrean, but estranged from her. You will allow her to complain unceasingly while you plan your next move. The house's interior is funereal. Since it only has one remaining occupant, apart from the butler, the housekeeper, 2 maids of all work, the cook, and a decrepit gardener who hardly count, many of its rooms are in disuse, their furniture covered by sheets. Now that you are inside, how will you acquire the letters? 46% chance of success. Hey, Remy, stop that.
Yep.
I'll roll the dice. Failure.
Well,
Try as you might, you can't divert her from her interminable monologue about the perfidy of husbands, the ingratitude of daughters, and the weakness of sons and the weakness of sons. Before she can move on to uncles, aunts, and cousins, you take your leave. Perhaps you can try again another day, or look to other methods. Let's try that again.
should work a second time, but please. Hey.
You and he, you suggest, were engaged in a number of briefly profitable and enduringly questionable activities. Furthermore, you fear he unwisely revealed said activities in his letters to his departed sister. Were his rivals to acquire them, your reputation and his would be ruined. For a long minute, she decides whether to destroy or save her son's career. Then she stands. My children's correspondence will be in the attic. Help yourself. She returns to her accounts. Several hours later, gray with attic dust, you leave the house with a handful of letters in your inside pocket.
Were his rivals to acquire them indeed?
Having retrieved the letters, you need to decide what to do with them. Who knows what secrets an ambassador's correspondence may hold, or what a retired devil might want with them. Leave them unread. You like to think that you've learned better than to involve yourself in the business of hell. You had better get the letters back to the retired devil. In fact, you should lock them in the safe so that they won't be a temptation.
That'd be ironic.
Okay.
Yeah, devils are notoriously keen-eyed and probably notice you've done something to it.
Uh-huh. Sell the old mining drill.
That's for the cash and more for the space.
1, 2, 3, 2, 4.
Numbers.
Deposit the dead. All in all, your navigator admits they've not been bad passengers, despite their insistence on joining the crew for meals, watching enviously, and in one regrettable instance, dropping a jawbone into the stew. The beheaded chaperone sees her charges off the engine with efficiency and tenderness. Her charges slowly disappear into the teeming smog of London. When the last is gone, she turns to you. Would you come with me? I'm not sure how my husband will take my return. Agreed. There might be tea at the end of it. She rubs her skull. In case you can't tell, Captain, I'm smiling. She leads you through crowded thoroughfares to a quiet street just behind St. Dominic's. There, a little tea shop is waiting. Her husband sits inside. While tea for 3 steeps, he weeps. When he eventually composes himself, you're repaid for her return, with tea as well as coin. Aw. Collect a telegram for the incautious driver.
Dandygram.
These are expensive to send, it must be important. The driver reads the telegram without expression. They show it to you without saying a word. Come home, stop. Your father, stop. Remy?
Remy, stop. Remy, get down. Get down. Do 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 do.
I'd ask you to close the desk, except it's probably about time anyway.
Is that what I do?
Yeah. Funeral, stop. New Winchester, stop. Drive safe, stop. He was ill for a long time. The driver finally manages. I need to pay my respects.
Boop. Let me get that noted down. Ow. Winchester, good. I believe there was even
Here in London,
I got the letter in London just now, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually need to take it back. I no longer understand what the deal with the KHBF was. Some hours there for more silly experiments.
There. That'll set us up with lots of stuff.
So question, how many lefts do we have to repair with the jack if we're going to? Is it 3?
I don't know.
You check it out.
Okay, nothing else listed.
Thundering whistles. The current train.
No, that's not my current train.
You up there?
Nope.
Are you still in person?
Nope.
Where are you?
I don't have any of these.
Oh.
I'm in a Pelennor.
Ah. This one was the from Gucci.
Yep. Okay. So that'll wrap us up in train space for this week, I think.
Space Train.
Thanks for watching, folks. I should be back on Saturday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern, where we'll be continuing Chroma Squad. Things have gotten weird there.
Yes.
Like it's more than just a TV show.
Which is strange because, like, isn't it just a TV show?
Yeah, as far as any of the actors are aware, it's just a TV show. But yeah. And then next Thursday I'll be back with more of this.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. Hello, Remy.
The joke will one day get old.
No, Remy.
I do
Don't.
not know when.
Do not stand on the pizza.
You're too small to be standing on pizza.
Who's around to raid? Foxandra is playing some kind of Mega Man.
Like,
Mega Man World.
5? DX. ROM hack of the Game Boy.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Neat. Let's
Yeah.
enjoy that foolishness.
Yeah.
The Game Boy Mega Mans were weird. There was a pogo stick. Remember the pogo stick?
Nope.
Pepperidge Farmer remembers the pogo stick.
So, thanks again, everybody, and I hope to see you next time. Good night,
Good night.
folks.
Remember the pogo stick.